The Doomslayer Deadeye has been performing even better than expected. There are no major changes to the passive tree that affects us negatively. Most of the support gems just provide options for increased damage and utility. The biggest downside that I've seen is that we just lost a little bit of area of effect, but the build absolutely destroyed Act 4 and the interlude. It's at the point with this build where this is going to sound so stupid and you're going to hate this, but I almost want the build to get nerfed because it made all the new content so trivial that I kind of missed out on it. Like all the boss fights they were so fast that I didn't get to see any of the mechanics, and the clear, it's just kind of trivializing the game at this point. I've just made it to maps, so we'll see how it continues performing in the endgame, but I have played this build before, up until tier 15s and pinnacles. I know how it performs, and it should just be even better than last league. So if you're still looking for a build, I can confirm that even after all the changes, this build is performing at the highest level. It is so good. I've seen a lot of other people now also jumping on the grenade train. Not surprising. All of the changes are being updated over on Mobalytics. I've updated the gems. There was an issue yesterday where some of the old gem names were causing a bit of a problem and the site was overloaded with people, but I am updating the guide and I will continue doing so. Just looking over at Mobalytics, I will try and keep this changelog right at the top up to date, especially with changes to gems. We've got a lot of new support gems that need testing. So as I test those and adjust them, I will update, but you should be able to see them as you go through. I have updated the early endgame tree and gem. Well, the tree is the same, but I've updated the gems. I must still go for the Trinity ones. I will do this as I test, but don't panic. Most of these are going to be the same. They just have different names. Moving into the early endgame version of the build, one thing you can do early on is using Painter's Servant. These things are very common and fairly cheap. These will give you a nice chunk of damage. They also help you balance out your cold, fire, and lightning, allowing you to shock and freeze and ignite. But one thing I must add is if you use these gloves, make sure that you are not using Fire Attunement. That is a gem that gives you increased fire damage at the expense of less cold and lightning. So Fire Attunement, this one over here, supported attacks gain 25% of damage as extra fire, but less cold and lightning. If you are using this and then you buy Painter Servant, take this gem out. I am busy testing some slightly different 5th gem setups. Currently, I'm using Elemental Armament, Magnified Area. I'm using Magnified Area 1. You could use Magnified Area 2. That gives us even bigger area of effect at the expense of 10% less damage, but I think this is fine for now. Fire Penetration 1. There's also Fire Penetration 2, which supported skills ignore enemy fire resistance. I'm still wondering if that's going to be better. That's the kind of thing I might want to chuck into PoB to test the difference, but this is fine for now. I suspect that Fire Penetration 2 is going to be better against things with just very high fire resistance, like bosses, but then we're also going to be losing out on the exposure. And then for now, 4th gem, I'm using Multi-Shot 2. You can, instead of Multi-Shot 2, use something like Close Combat. I'm looking at other gem options that we can use. Multi-Shot 2 is still good if you have fewer than 5 projectiles, or I'd rather say fewer than 4 projectiles, but I'll test this and I will update it all on Mobalytics. Other changes to the build, at this point I've dropped Oil Grenade. Oil Grenade is just way too laggy. It feels horrible and laggy, so I've taken it out, but instead I have replaced the missing fire exposure that we got from taking out Oil Grenade. I put it on Gas Grenade, so we can now put this on our Gas Grenade. Assuming it ignites the target, it will apply that exposure, but our single target is just so ridiculously good at this point that this is just overkill. One other thing I keep getting asked is about Mortar Cannon. Am I using Mortar Cannon? And yes, I am. Mortar Cannon is really good, especially on bosses, and it allows you to get around the 1 skill per class limit. Ordinarily, I couldn't use 2 different explosive grenades. It actually won't let me do it. But with Mortar Cannon, we can. So if I take this out, you already have a socketed skill of this type. I can't do it, but I can do it with a Mortar Cannon. Don't know if that's intended, but this is excellent for single target. The links are on Mobalytics, but I'm using Fire Pen, Primal Armament, or Elemental Armament, and Payload. So give it a try. I've heard some people are using like Oil Grenade or Gas Grenade. I tried it with Flash Grenade. That was also good. You could possibly also do it with Cluster Grenade. Test it out. See what feels good to you. And then most of everything else is the same. The build is just, it's performing great, and I will keep updating it on Mobalytics as I go. One other thing to mention during the campaign was I was using Incendiary Shot. This kind of feels worse than expected. So if you prefer using Galvanic Shot and high velocity rounds, which is what I was doing lastly, Galvanic Shards, you can do that. You can do some other leveling setup, but even that being said, Explosive Grenade, Crossbow Shot, Flash Grenade, Contagion, those were more than enough to carry until we go into the full grenade setup at level 22-ish, so Incendiary Shot, not that great, but it doesn't really matter. But there is maybe some like ironing out that we could do over here. Just read the guide, go through it. I promise you, if you just, this isn't too many words. This will take you like 5 minutes to read, and it'll give you a much improved experience. So the build, just 10 out of 10. When I released my initial build guide, I used the B word, which was probably a very naughty. I shouldn't have done that, but I mean, funny, now everyone else is playing grenades too, so maybe it wasn't too naughty using the B word. If you have any other questions about the build, I will be live on stream. You can pop in. I'll also put a link to the Discord in the description, so if you want to join the community, you can go there and ask questions. But there are plenty of people playing the build. Hop in the live stream. I will do more update videos as this comes out. One other small thing I just want to add is I've also mapped out all the permanent buffs from Act 4 and the Interlude. This will be, I'll link this in the description so that you can see where you're going to get your weapon set skill points and all of that. And yes, I will activate Windows. I just haven't had a chance yet. Catch you later. Have a wonderful day. I will be live immediately after this video comes out, so I'll see you all soon. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Catch you in the next video, and bye-bye.